Well, I've got everything out here. I thought I'd show you this. This arrived about 2 days ago or so. Anyway, this is that PWM tester pulse width frequency display that I ordered. There was one for $5 on Banggood, and then this one was like $15 and something on Amazon. You can see here it's the PWM tester frequency displayer. I thought I would get it faster, but I didn't. It took about a month or so for it to get through shipping from China. But this is a lot of people over the last 10 years, one of the biggest things they talk about is I can't tell if I have an output on some RC channel. And it goes to their ESCs, it goes to servos, it goes to switches for switching between two cameras or whatever. They're just not sure they have anything there. And my response is always hook up a servo to it and see what you get, because in my opinion, this servo is a device that changes electrical signals into visual mechanical signals. When the servo moves, you can see it. So it converts electrical signals into something you can see. And then we've all done the radio calibration and Ardu Pilot and iNav, something like that, where we see the movement of our sticks when we're doing that calibration, and later we see the numbers that were generated and stored into the autopilot based on that radio calibration. Well, this little board lets you see that just straight up. I'll go ahead and turn it on. I just have a little voltage source off over here, and this is just a little servo tester. Hobby King, oh no, oops, Ready Made RC gonna kill me for that one. This is a Ready Made RC servo tester. Right now it's in manual mode and it's not quite at half. I don't know if you remember a lot of those radio calibrations you do. Half is around 1500 is those magic numbers you see there. If I push this little button, it'll go into servo centering mode and this knob will no longer be functional. There it is. It's sending out 1500 basically. Either it's got a little drift in it of the 3 to 4 units we see, or this has some drift in it. Come on, this is $5, 15 at most. This wasn't very expensive either. So there's the actual numbers you see. So if we go back to manual mode, when you go high on the sticks, we usually see some numbers. I see it on my radio a lot. 1900s to 2000 is what's expected there. And then when you go back down to halfway again, you get around 1500. You go below half, you get down to 900s. 982, 983 here, whatever. That's all this does. This shows that signal. Now, if I didn't know if a channel on my autopilot was working or not, historically, I have always stuck a servo on it. That good old electrical to visual converter. Well, let's just stick this on here real quick. You can go ahead and put this in parallel. There's two sets of pins on this PWM display. We'll go ahead and stick the servo right on the other set of pins. There we go. And turn it back on. $14.99. You can see where the lever is when I move it. You can see the lever moves. The number changes. The number's going to be going up now. So is the servo. Now, since I've ordered this, I don't know why I didn't see this on the internet before. I've found these servo testers that have the actual display on them. Haven't located one exactly, but I've seen them inside two videos. A servo tester that has this function built into it. I never had this function before. There's 1500. That servo's at neutral, basically. And if we go push this button, we'll go to the center button here, which is neutral, so that you can hook your servos up to your control. And this knob no longer does anything. To this next one, it just cycles through. If I push this button again, it'll go to a cycle through function. And the servo just sits here and cycles. And you can see the numeric representation of the pulse width modulated signal is reading out here in decimal. But historically, I've just used a servo, and that gets hard if you've got a channel on an autopilot that controls one of 4 motors, and you're not sure if you're getting any output on one of them. Then sure, you can hook this servo in where you normally would have an ESC. But a little short line, trying to rock the autopilot around and see if you've got movement on this can be kind of hard. Holding a battery, the autopilot, and this, and trying to sense whether this is rotating, that could be kind of hard. You just put a longer cable on it, I guess. I've got some 3-foot ones that were in a big airplane that I used to have, and I just use those big long servo cables. Let the servo sit on the table and rock the autopilot around, and I can see if the thing's moving. But this might help some people. I'm just not sure which. Trying to explain to them how to get this on an output and sense whether or not this lever, this control horn, is moving, and a lot harder than saying hook this to your output and see what the reading numbers are, and do the numbers change. If you're in a situation where one of the control joysticks, switches, levers, whatever on your control radio is changing this pulse width, then you want to see an equal change in the numeric display of this little pulse width tester, frequency displayer. All right, I just figured while I had all this other stuff out doing that little pan and tilt, I would show you this had arrived. I consider it just another tool in my toolbox that I will use happily, rather than getting out a servo and stuff. It's like 6.5 dozen of the other. Just indications where a numeric value might be better than trying to see if you're getting a angular change on this while you're trying to hold autopilot, a battery, a model, whatever. All right, thank you much.